Mankato is a community that has all.
It's very vibrant. We have restaurants and unique boutiques, and we have art and all these different things happening. People want to be in the city center.
It's like you're in some major metropolitan area. There's people walking everywhere.
There's so much more diversity downtown that now it's a destination.
The silo art and all the different murals and the sculpture walk has expanded a lot. And that adds a lot of vitality to the people that live here, in addition to excitement for the businesses that are in this region.
Since we implemented public art initiatives over the last decade, there's been a 414% increase in building permits in city center.
The positive changes that affect our quality of life are all happening downtown.
And so from a growth and a development standpoint, truly Mankato has all of those elements here that create that energy for future growth.
We all know each other, the private sector, the public sector, and the nonprofit sector. We're able to freely talk about ideas together.
Part of the magic of Mankato is that there are so many voices involved, and we are so lucky because we need them all.
When students come to us and they can see that there are extraordinary new developments, that makes them really excited to come to college here in Mankato, but then to see themselves staying.
Quality of life is not only important for development, it's important for families, it's important for talent, it's important for many, many things that affect the culture in our community.
The more that we can build up Mankato for a great outstate city in Minnesota, the better for Minnesota.
The intentional investments that are being made here, they're extraordinary, and they've changed our community for the better.
At one time, Mankato downtown was a thriving, aesthetically pleasing business district. And then when the new malls were developed, all development just left downtown.
What's happened in Mankato over the last 50 years has happened around cities all over the country. The downtown retail models moving to the outskirts, for example, River Hills Mall.
And downtown, there was nothing going on. There weren't restaurants anymore. The buildings were abandoned in some situations. There were vacant lots.
So what we saw here in Mankato back then was both a need and an opportunity for good construction and good development.
I was approached by the then mayor of Mankato and the then mayor of North Mankato, and they asked me if I would help with a planning group, and that became known as Act 2000. And it was awesome. We had over 1,000 people. We had broken down to like 10, 12 different groups. We had identified goals. Every group was working on their goals. We were having regular meetings. The media was on it. The governments were on it. Everybody was excited about it. I loved it. I'm a supporter of a deep planning process that brings in the community.
Back in 1994, the Mankato Civic Center had just been built.
And the event center really was a catalyst for a lot of the development downtown. Some might say that that was the beginning of planting a flag for we're changing our future.
Act 2000 was what we saw the tail end of. Envision 2020 is what came about around 15, 18 years ago.
I was co-chair of the Envision 2020 strategic planning process that happened in about 2006.
I think like '06, there was a big push to get a big group together. It was called Envision 2020.
Everyone realized that for us to grow, we needed to really have a cohesive plan and a roadmap for the future. And so that's what Envision 2020 really became.
Everybody around this whole region had participants that were a part of this. Key people from all the universities, all the city leaders, the city council members, then you had business leaders, community people, neighborhood associations. Well, they were coming to this and giving their feedback and stuff. I think very important to get everyone giving their advice.
We all came together and we said, now that we have these ideas and goals in mind, where should we go to look at where they've implemented plans like this? And so we started what was called the Inner City Vision Leadership Trip.
We always looked for cities that were a little bit farther down the road than Mankato as far as vitality.
We aspired to be like them. They were very successful.
You know, the ideas that come out of there when you're interacting with the very people that can help make it happen, it's so real.
We wanted to hear what they did right and what they would have done differently as their cities experienced a renaissance. And we were always surprised how open people are to share what their secrets are and how they got it together.
It was incredible the way these cities would invite us in. We got to see and hear everything.
We always heard that the cities that we visited were always impressed that a town the size of Mankato would send 90+ people to go to their city just to talk about how it's working for them and what they would do different.
In the first part of Envision 2020, it was many committees meeting to try to identify what was important. So one thing that was important is not letting your city center fall apart.
And we found that arts and culture were a main driver of a downtown redevelopment and downtown vibrancy and vitality. We looked at programs all over and put together the City Art Walking Sculpture Tour, a very vibrant series of sculptures that are exhibited every year, and they rotate every year. And that just became the first really major community public art project. It got people very excited and really started to help transform the downtown.
All of a sudden you start seeing the energy of having people downtown, and all of a sudden more and more people will see the benefits of being in a downtown.
A lot of what we initially started and planned has been realized. I mean, you look at downtown, it is just dramatically different.
The restaurants, the hospitality.
You can just hang out and have lunch over here. There's people walking everywhere.
To go out for dinner, then to walk to the Civic Center, and then afterwards to go get maybe a dessert somewhere.
We've got Division I sports, we've got great theater, we've got great performances, we've got bands and other people that come to town.
Our hockey team just went to the Frozen Four. It was rated the #1 team in the nation. So I mean, we're doing some stuff here. I kind of like it. And I think, by the way, they would never have got to that point without the Civic Center. With that cool downtown feel, I think it all is tied together.
Another step in this journey was the amphitheater.
I mean, it's one of the best outdoor theaters in Minnesota, and it's right here.
That's yet another step of embracing culture, attracting people, providing different dimensions of entertainment. It all works together.
I mean, there's so many public art projects that have happened. We have painted electrical boxes, we have murals everywhere. We have the Silo Art Project. Developers who own buildings or developing projects that implement public art into their spaces. Offices have now moved back downtown. Workers want to be downtown.
It's really a large combination of many things that affect our quality of life. The quality of community, volunteerism, the universities, education systems here are amazing. Our medical system is pretty amazing. So if you look at all of these things, it creates an environment that employers and new businesses would say, yeah, this is a pretty good place.
The city of Mankato, North Mankato are awesome to work with. They understand development, they like development.
In addition to just having a successful development process, we've created loans and grant programs that are generated from the city itself, but also state grants. We use tax increment financing. We have community development block grants that we can use. So from a funding standpoint, we have all the tools, and our staff is second to none.
When the city gets an application for something, they've got comparables now. It's easier to prove viability.
There are more than 150 units of residential development that's either been approved, on the table, or will be developed here in the very near future.
Mankato has a great base of lenders, and more coming.
You're going to continue to see investments and reinvestments in the historic infrastructure that we have in our downtown region. I think you're going to continue to see the restaurant community and the hospitality community grow and thrive here.
We're going to grow. Actually, we're growing faster than I think a lot of the other communities in Minnesota because it is very nice here. It's a valley community. I always call it the Napa Valley of the Midwest. And in the fall, it's all beautiful.
It's amazing what's really happened with streetscaping and building materials and views that people are taking advantage of when they build projects. We have the bluffs all around. People are taking advantage of a lot of the beauty around us.
We need projects that work. You've got to collect enough rent to pay off the loan. That's a given. But beyond that, way beyond that, and what we all go home smiling about at night is the enhanced quality of living that our projects result in.
It's a pretty phenomenal place.
We're more than just a good option, we're a great option.